Hello, everybody. Welcome to our podcast of today in June 2025. I'm Dr. Bright, and this is the Veterans Health Forum. Our transmission from our international studio, transatlantic studio. I'm in Florida, and our colleague and friend, Dr. Koscak, is in Slovenia. Hi, Marco.
Hello, everybody. Hello, Florian.
How is everything going on in Europe? We know what's going how is going here.
At the moment, things are hot, I would say.
Yeah, it's just
on all
because
fronts, on all fronts, not just weather. So we have very beautiful summer, but we have also a lot of worries, I think, speaking about the world situation. But okay,
Right.
we'll see what we can do in our discussion today.
It's a true global warming, isn't it?
It is.
It
is, and I think, unfortunately, things are going to be hotter as they are looking at the moment. Even
we certainly believe we're not going to see mushrooms growing.
Yeah. Well, when you mentioned mushrooms, I had just on Saturday very nice meeting with my former colleagues, from which we studied together. And there is a high season of mushrooms in some parts of Slovenia. And of course, these are, of course, edible, and people are picking that.
Yeah, I was referring to the global warming. I was referring to the nuclear mushroom, but you
well,
are talking...
I understand that, but I wanted to go back into the more ecological way of
ecological and edible mushrooms, which is really good. Very nice twist. So for today, guys, we prepared before the war in Iran started. We prepared something interesting in here, prepared, I should say, and that was a little bit of an analogy between the mass tourism or the old-fashioned tourism and the new type of transformation of the old-fashioned tourism into the wellness tourism. And I would just simply read in here my initial question to Dr. Koscak. As we know, he's a university professor in vernacular tourism, University of Maribor. So he's the most important personality in talking about this kind of mass tourism and what it was and where we go from there. So, Marco, my thinking here is, my first question would be, can today the international tourism move from mass tourism into the wellness tourism? Is this a long or short process?
Well,
so
it must. I would say there is no other choice. If we continue in some destinations with this mass direction, we will destroy not just environment, but also communities. And in part of, I don't know the situation in America to be somehow correct, but here in Europe we saw that in many destinations people are simply sick and tired of the volume of visitors. They are visiting their home destinations, and they are doing all possible that they avoid this congestion. Of course, this is very difficult. It is not a one-day kind of change. It is a process, as you said. And in some destinations, it will take longer. In some destinations, it will take shorter. But basic element for starting this, to my understanding, is consensus between partners in the destination. What do we want? Where do we want to go? Shall we continue to destroy ourselves, if I exaggerate a little bit, or we change the direction and we start now to somehow go in a direction where we are more responsible, where we control what is coming, who is visiting, in which way we offer the product, etc., etc. So basically, it is not a simple and one-way answer. I would say this is absolutely a process.
Yeah, and I would say it's from the point of view of the host. it's a permanent and major disturbance and this in their lifestyle
Absolutely.
because thousands upon of thousands of invaders, so to speak, the mass tourism people coming and acting strange and coming out from different other walks of life and different other political and cultural environments popping into your community, into your background. It must be a big disturbance, and we can see how the Italians, they were the first ones, I believe, and also
Yeah.
the Spaniards,
Spaniards.
particularly. I mean, you are next to Venice. You are what, two
Absolutely.
hours
300,
drive,
300
3 hours drive
kilometers.
from Venice. They were the
Yeah.
first ones to say no
Yeah.
more those gigantic cruise ships coming into the Canal
Absolutely.
Grande.
Same for Dubrovnik, same
Right.
for Barcelona, same for other places.
Right. I mean, I watched one time on TV when those gigantic ships are coming, how the water level in the canal is rising. Right. I mean,
Absolutely.
it is absolutely scandalous for some
Yeah.
idiots to sit on the 25th floor of the ship watching like from an airplane down to the to the palaces in Venice on the Canal
Mm.
Grande. It's absolutely lunacy, right?
Absolutely.
And, and
Absolutely.
and and then you have, but everything degenerated in the, I would say, starting in the 70s and the 80s, degenerated due to the greed of the organizers. They wanted to have those cheap tours, enormous big movement of population, quick making money, but literally they couldn't care less of the infrastructure.
I was lecturing in Dubrovnik some years ago, and I was working with the head directors or head of the marketing in the best Dubrovnik hotels.
Yeah,
And for instance, their night is in some cases €1,000.
yeah,
On the other hand, uh, the port authorities make arrangements with cruisers for 10, 15 years ahead
hmm,
to bring them the volume of between 5 and 8,000 people per day
oh,
from the
gee,
season,
yeah,
Easter till end of August, beginning of September.
yeah,
I believe, if I remember correct, each passenger tax for that passenger, which is paid for the port authorities, is 10 or 15 euro. Now, if you multiply this, you will see how big money is that for port authority, which built major infrastructure out of that money.
yeah,
But these people cannot even go in the town because you can imagine the small town of Dubrovnik, old part where everybody wants to go, cannot consume 8,000 people at the same time, you see.
yeah,
And simply this destroys on one side infrastructure, the I would say experience. People started to move out, Dubrovnik people, original Dubrovnik people, and convert their flats into the Airbnb, which is only in operation for 2 months. The
yeah,
remaining 10 months is empty. You see,
yeah,
I just want to give you some plastic tangible evidence how this was really heavily affected. And then when they suddenly understand this, the people who has paid 1,000 euro per night cannot go in the heart of the town to see this UNESCO beautiful heritage
yeah,
because simply they cannot walk the town. And you have two conflicts in a way, and uh, on one side passenger bringing 15 euro, but of course the volume is such that then only authority make the profit, all the
yeah,
remaining, okay, restaurants also, but now they desperately want to change this, but it is absolutely very difficult to change such wrong way, to my understanding. I know that maybe some people will disagree, but especially cruise industry is very questionable and very delicate when talking about the damage which they cause because of the volume of the people bringing on their vessels, you know.
Now that you mentioned the cruise industry, that was my last question here, but I will bring it up right now. Cruise vacations. So this is now an increased problem in the cruise industry and how the cruise industry progresses. I have personally in my office patients who go on cruise now. I'm in Palm Beach, Florida, so obviously the biggest port, and we have two big ports, cruising ports in Florida, three actually. So one is Miami, one is Fort Lauderdale, and then we have naturally the big one, Cape Canaveral. So those are those enormous big ships. I mean, absolutely gigantic. And I have a lot of patients who go in summer for 3-4 weeks on cruise and so on. So recently I had a patient and she crossed the Panama Canal, okay, took pictures and so on. She was telling me that actually the entire 3 weeks she could not put her sneakers or her shoes on her feet because the food on the ship, and this is a luxury ship, was so super salty that her blood pressure was all high. She was on medication. A lot of people were complaining. And the chef came one time and they were discussing, and he said, well, considering how we are provisioning the food on the ship, we have to use all kind of salt because we do not want to have the problems with infections, with food degrading, with blah blah. So in other words, it's a huge health problem.
It is. It is. But also, I think, despite that, cruisers in the last, let's say, time, as far as I can know, they are looking for some experience on ground. Means they organize buses which transfer them to some local, let's say, particularities and interesting points. But still, this is very limited because even in that period when they are somehow in the port, there are kind of incentives on the boat to keep people on the board, not going down. But then why on earth you would travel on the boat where you don't have even a single human touch with locals? This is against my understanding what is tourism, because this is life experience of learning how the people in special in certain destinations are living. You see, that's the best experience you can get. Human
Exactly.
contact,
Yeah, exactly. But I believe that now, with the mass tourism in general flying across the oceans and so on, now the cruise industry is picking up on the dwindling number of mass tourism people, and they're trying to squeeze them all in those mega ships. So it's another new aspect of mass tourism.
It is.
Yeah. So
now,
so you, in your impression, I mean, do you think it will be a longer or shorter period of time until people really will evidently move from the mass tourism into wellness tourism?
Florian, I believe that for some market segments, people who has certain budgets, they cannot shift easily. They will continue to use the products where they can be, accommodated with the magnitude of money they can spend. You see, two conditions are always important for the tourism. One is surplus of budget, and the other one is surplus of free time. Means this is crucial thing, and I believe that still, whatever we talk now, cruise industry will be doing business, to be honest, you see. But this is a mental question, more mental and ethical question of each of us. Do we really want to continue that, or do you as a person want to change something and change it on the basis with your family, friends first? And these are some kind of small steps I'm talking, and where I also believe that these small steps on the long term could bring also the positive results. For instance, if I'm coming from Slovenia, country of 2 million. You see, we don't have volume to accommodate mass. Simply, what we are offering, and you have visited Slovenia, you know what I'm talking about. This green, rural, small, it's only family businesses, farm tourism, you see, some rural pensions, etc. These are really somehow tailor-made for small volume groups of 5, 10, maximum 15, maybe 20 people, but with the personal touch, with the boutique product, and I think with a highly unique experience. Anyway, let me put it this way, in all dimensions, in terms of nature, in terms of human contact, in terms of quality environment, in terms of excitements, etc., etc. Anyway.
And now, as we had the experience with the world pandemic in the matter of health, what could be more devastating than to travel for several weeks in a very big compact group of people, breathing on each other, and sharing all the facilities with them, and then instead of having a healthy vacation, you're coming back home to be sick for months.
Absolutely.
So, and also now I'm going to my point number 2 in here. Okay, it is the observation now that generally speaking, people will pay out of their own pocket for a vacation, just a vacation, a classical vacation, but they were not willing to pay for a health vacation. So a vacation where you go with the real scope of relaxing, of improving your health, going to different medical centers, I mean to different biomedical centers in our case, and do something considerably important for your health. I have a discussion with Professor Resch from Germany, our friend and colleague, who is saying the same thing. Over the years, particularly people in Germany, consider that their health must be covered financially by their insurances. Whatever the insurance doesn't pay, boom, I don't need. So this is a complete false attitude, right?
It is.
And unfortunately, this attitude doesn't serve the patient, doesn't serve the health industry, doesn't serve the centers. So in other words, it only serves very possible, again, the mass tourism, which proved to be completely wrong when the pandemic came aboard. So,
well, you are right in a way. I absolutely agree. But on the other hand, if you take a kind of personal situation, if you find out that you are, somehow sick or not well, and your doctor would say, look, I know the place where they can help you. I don't think that there is any kind of obstacle which will prevent you to really go and experience that, if that's really needed. Means when you come to the stage in your life, and that not necessarily means that you are old, but maybe your lifestyle is not really advanced, let me put it this way, you started to face problems, then you will either go on pills and take this scenario, or you will do something for yourself in terms of prevention. Means you will go and somebody experienced personnel with 150 years tradition and more will tell you, look, this is the way, alternative way. Means you can do this and do this exercise, do this diet, be with this, let's say, people together. I have personal experience again in from our spas here, where only maybe 30-40 people are at the same time taken in the program, because there is absolutely individual approach. And this, I believe, at least from my experience, I see that program is full all over the year. And mostly they are coming from international market, people from Netherlands, from Germany, whatever. But again, it looks that people are not believing this, and they are thinking, as you said, okay, the health insurance will pay this. No, I believe that more and more we should recognize that the public budgets will not be able to cover these things. So only the on the level of private initiative, this of course is absolutely way towards boutique and individual market.
Yeah, after 30-40 years of distorting the perception of health, particularly in Germany, in France, in many other countries, in England, where my health is owed to me by the state or by the insurance company. This is a very bad mentality we have to fight against.
It is.
And people have to come and understand that, yes, we tried from the medical point of view for a particular chronic affliction, everything what it was there, right? So now I came to a point, as you said, where the doctor says, well, okay, you can stay as you are, chronic. I mean, you can live probably for a long time, but still not being 100% healthy. We can maintain you like that, or maybe not. But there is another possibility. And then if the patient says, but doctor, I will only do what my insurance pays for, then let the patient go, right? Because you do not need to convince somebody who is so up into that whatever the insurance pays mentality, that you have to convince him. If the patient doesn't understand, doesn't open his mind to say, okay, I will try something else. And if the insurance doesn't pay, well, hell with that. I will pay out of my own pocket, right?
Yes. And look, nobody destroy your health. No doctor destroy your health. Your way of life, your way of doing things was affecting. Okay, maybe you have some genetic, let's say, kind of preconditions which are not favorable. But at the end of the day, I think we are responsible, each of us, for our life. And quality of our health at the end of the day means, do you move, do you eat nutrition which is healthy, or do you eat crap,
right.
And all this of course is at the end of the day on your personal account. You will pay whatever is the price, and if you continue, you will pay for your bad health then. So that's simple as that, to my understanding.
And coming to one of my last questions here is like, do you believe that? I mean, I do, but I mean, it's your question. My question to you too. Do you believe that a health vacation justifiable will cost more than a regular vacation?
Probably, Florian, because I believe that all, and again, speaking from my personal experience, the system in Slovenia with our friend Dr. Majic, who was head, okay, now retired, of such health center. You see, all this is very tailor made.
Yeah.
You go there, you get first tests. They take your blood, they see what is the condition, and then they prescribe only on that basis the activities. It's not generalized. It is particularly, let's say, designed for your person. And of course, this is a bit more costly. I'm not saying that this is, I don't know, not affordable. Far from that. And on the other hand, of course, it is that we are talking about the higher than average price, yeah. And again, in Europe, you will find countries, and you know that better than me, where the let's say the wellness, the health service is still absolutely affordable for American market. I personally believe that no average American patient would have any problems with the prices here, honestly, because these prices are still, I think, according to your standard, very, very convenient and not a high prices anyway.
And it's also a little bit of we discussed that with Professor Resch. It's a big advantage for an American because also the mentality. In America, more or less, people are used to pay for
Yes,
extra
that's right.
services and for
That's right.
their health services.
That's right.
So, yes, the insurance may cover this and that, so many percentage, whatever, but I know I have to pitch in. I have to
Yeah,
open my
yeah.
purse.
My
I
wallet.
have to
Yes.
pay money for that. And I believe that the new mentality, which we're actually trying to promote now, is that in the future, there will be a very the only possibly the only one safe destination for a summer vacation for tourism for an American will definitely be Europe. Because
Mm.
you see yourself since the last time we talked, a week ago, we didn't have the war in Iran. Now the war is going on.
Mm.
We don't have, I mean, the war in Ukraine is it's intensifying colossally. uh, all those kind of political events are actually making the world smaller and smaller and smaller, right? So
That's right.
now, no American were going to go to travel to Central Africa where they are killing each other over there like rabbits. You are not going to go to Southeast Asia where China is supposed to do whatever they can do in the South China Sea. You're not going to go to Israel now because of the war going on. You
Yeah.
don't have the Russians and the Ukrainians, people with a lot of money coming to your centers in Europe. So
Yeah.
the only one market which is still available, or the two parts of the world which can really communicate with each other on the matter of tourism and health tourism,
Yeah.
is America and Europe.
Absolutely. You see, the safe destinations are shrinking.
Yes, yes,
Basically, we don't know what happens next week, to be honest. I mean,
right,
if I
exactly.
put it a little bit pessimistic, but
No,
but
no,
I
that's
also believe that the standards, the lifestyle, the ethics, and everything, what is behind the tourism, it's the closest with these continents which you mentioned, means America and Europe. You see, I know how people from America, when they are coming here in Europe, are enjoying. So I had a lot of chance to be with this market. And absolutely, I believe that the culture, you see, the everything what is around is pretty straightforward, easily to accommodate, easily to understand. Environmental conditions, climate, everything, still, very, very convenient. So basically, I believe that the health tourism and the structures which we are trying to open and to start for several years now are here and available for still very affordable effort, or if you want that I will be direct, price, which is then finally also very important for the final decision whether you will come or not, you see. So that's how I see it from our perspective here, and this
so.
is absolutely one of the direction, and not the only one, where we could go down with the masses, because simply the system as it is designed, so you spend 2-3 weeks with the personal doctor, with the personal physician, with the personal nutrition, with the even waiter who sits you there and talks to you like friend, and you are absolutely feeling, as I would say, at home. I will do it, and I did it, but I'm thinking now to do it myself also, because I believe that I'm at the age where I should be thinking about my health, and this is one of the, let's say, steps which I will absolutely do, and it doesn't matter how much it costs, because it is about my health anyway. Sorry.
So it is, I believe, safe to conclude in a way that to bring together our discussion, that mass tourism and now slash cruising will continue to exist. Um, because they are speaking to the masses. They are speaking to the lower expectation customers. They are speaking for people who are looking for a quick vacation and cheap vacation. The word will be cheap, right?
Mm, mm,
Cheap, and as we will call it here in America, Europe in 7 days.
mhm.
So, in other words, it will continue. Probably will be diminishing in volume mass tourism because of the pandemic. Probably not.
Mm,
We'll see. But the health tourism, the wellness tourism, will definitely going to be the future. And
absolutely.
now concluding, I mean, bringing everything together, our entire conversation, it seems to me that this wellness tourism will speak actually more to a particular higher part of the clientele on the market. It will be people who can afford it, who are
Yeah,
willing to pay
yeah,
out of their own pocket,
yeah.
who have more than 3 weeks vacation. In other words, they have vacation time of their
That's right.
discretion,
That's
right?
right.
Who are also educated and they are looking for new possibilities to improve their health.
Absolutely.
And so those will be the top whatever part of the clientele, and the wellness tourism will be most attractive to them.
Absolutely.
And probably we have to coexist with the mass tourism. We wish them good luck. That's not
Yeah,
our department.
yeah, yeah.
Slovenia, for me for interrupting, but Slovenia is a typical country for high price tourism, where you have the small communities, a small number of people who go in there to enjoy their vacation. Venice was a center of mass tourism. We're probably going to sink in the canal
Yeah,
if big cruise ships are continue going.
yeah.
But
Half
you
of the
cannot
town is
offer
anyway
everything to everybody.
in a poor condition, you see, because of this. But I think, yes, you are very right. I don't think that any of this market will stop immediately. But if we change the way of thinking to some people that this is higher quality, of course you pay also a little bit more, but then it is most important for your personal and other way of experience, then I am sure that you will find people who will be prepared to pay a little bit more. But I think above all, it is about the way of thinking. It's about the change in the head that this is really what I should, or my family, my children, any should experience, and then at the end of the day you can still decide. And that's why I'm optimistic in that statement that probably the volume also about with this, let's say, more individual boutique market will
Yeah.
increase. Yeah.
Yeah. It's a change. It will be a change in mentality, a
It will be.
change in perception, a
Yeah,
change in prioritizing your health.
that's right. That's right.
So I think we see, both of us, we see the future going from mass tourism more or less into the wellness tourism. And wellness tourism will be connected for major advantages to all participants. All Definitely a major advantage for the patient who is doing something particularly great for his health and spending a wonderful time in doing that, and
Mhm.
also a big advantage for the host, where he doesn't see his backyard being plundered and destroyed. And then, as we said, the host will make more money with wellness tourism because it's a high quality product.
Yes, yes,
So it's a
yes,
win-win situation.
yes. On the other hand, let's be frank. I mean, also host will need to prepare, will need to organize the situation. Will need to be high standard
Yeah.
with the performance, with the treatments and everything. So it is, as you said, on the both sides, a kind of effort which should be made in order that the quality and win-win situation would be achieved. Absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, Marco, I thank you so very much for today. I think we had some very important points covered. We will do it next week again before you go to vacation on the island of
Yeah. Of
Vis,
this, yes.
right? And thank you so much. Thank you for everybody listening to us, and stay tuned and see what the next week we're gonna bring us
Absolutely.
from our perspective, right?
Yeah. Thank you,
Okay.
Florian, and I look forward to our next kind of exchange of experience. Let's put it this way.
All the best to everybody. Thank you guys for
Yeah.
tuning
Bye.
in. Bye bye.
Bye.